The diplomatic mission gone wrong. The starship Harmony glided through the inky void of space, its sleek hull reflecting the distant starlight. Inside, Ambassador Elena Rice adjusted her formal attire, her dark eyes fixed on the approaching alien world. Zephyria, home to the Galactic Confederation, loomed large in the viewscreen, a swirling orb of purple and green. Final approach, Ambassador, Captain Jared Hawkins announced, his voice steady despite the tension evident in his posture. The Zephyrians have cleared us for landing. Elena nodded, her mind racing through the diplomatic protocols she'd studied for months. This mission was humanity's best chance at joining the Galactic Confederation, a step that could propel Earth into a new era of interstellar cooperation and technological advancement. As the Harmony descended through Zephyria's atmosphere, Elena's daughter, Sophia, peered out a nearby window, her eyes wide with wonder. At just 8 years old, Sophia had insisted on accompanying her mother on this historic journey, her curiosity about alien worlds outweighing any fear of the unknown. "Mom, look," Sophia exclaimed, pointing at the alien landscape below. "The trees are moving." Elena smiled, grateful for her daughter's infectious enthusiasm. "Remember, sweetie, we're guests here. We must be on our best behavior." The ship touched down on a crystalline landing pad, and Elena led her team out onto Zephyrian soil. A delegation of tall, willowy aliens with iridescent skin awaited them, their expressions unreadable. High Counselor Vexera, the leader of the Zephyrian delegation, stepped forward. "Welcome to Zephyria, Ambassador Reyes. We trust your journey was uneventful." Elena bowed slightly, careful to maintain eye contact, as per Zephyrian custom. "Thank you, High Counselor. We are honored to be here and look forward to productive discussions." As the diplomatic team was escorted to their quarters, Sophia tugged at her mother's sleeve. "Mom, can I explore the gardens? They look so pretty." Elena hesitated, then nodded. "All right, but stay within sight of our security detail." Over the next few days, negotiations progressed slowly. The Zephyrians seemed interested in Earth's resources, but were hesitant about granting full membership to such a young spacefaring race. Elena worked tirelessly, presenting Earth's case with passion and logic. On the 5th day, as Elena was deep in discussion with Vexera about trade agreements, a commotion erupted outside the conference chamber. Shouts and the sound of energy weapons filled the air. Elena's blood ran cold. "Sophia," she whispered, her maternal instincts screaming danger. She rushed out of the room. Vexera closed behind. In the gardens, a scene of chaos unfolded. Zephyrian security forces surrounded a small, crumpled form on the ground. Elena's heart stopped as she recognized the blue dress her daughter had been wearing. "No," she screamed, pushing past the guards. "Sophia." Elena fell to her knees beside her daughter's still body. Sophia's eyes were open, staring blankly at the alien sky, a scorched hole in her chest, where an energy blast had struck her. Captain Hawkins arrived moments later, his face pale with shock. "Ambassador, we need to leave. Now." But Elena couldn't move, couldn't think. She cradled Sophia's body, her mind refusing to accept the reality before her. Vexera approached, his voice devoid of emotion. "A regrettable incident. The child approached a restricted area, and our security forces reacted as per protocol." Elena's head snapped up, her grief transforming into white-hot rage. Protocol. She was a child, an innocent. Vexera's expression remained impassive. "We will, of course, provide compensation as outlined in our diplomatic agreements. Now, I suggest you return to your ship. This incident has complicated our negotiations." Captain Hawkins gently pulled Elena to her feet, supporting her as she clutched Sophia's body. The human delegation retreated to the Harmony, shock and disbelief etched on every face. As the ship lifted off, leaving Zephyria behind, Elena's sobs echoed through the corridors. The mission, once full of hope, had ended in tragedy. But as Earth's representatives returned home with their devastating news, they were unaware of the storm they were about to unleash. In the depths of space, the Harmony accelerated towards Earth, carrying a grief-stricken mother and a dead child, a spark that would soon ignite a firestorm of human vengeance across the galaxy. Earth's response and fleet mobilization. The news of Sophia's death spread across Earth like wildfire, igniting a global inferno of grief and rage. Footage of Ambassador Elena Rice disembarking from the Harmony, cradling her daughter's lifeless body, became the rallying cry for a planet united in sorrow and fury. In the halls of power, emergency meetings convened. World leaders, military commanders, and intelligence chiefs gathered to address what many were already calling an act of war. The United Earth Council chamber buzzed with tension as Admiral Zhao Chen, head of Earth's covert space fleet program, took the podium. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice grave, "the time for secrecy is over. For the past 2 decades, we have been developing a response to potential extraterrestrial threats. Today, I present to you Project Nemesis." The lights dimmed, and a holographic display flickered to life, showing a vast armada of sleek, powerful warships hidden in the shadows of distant moons and asteroids. Gasps echoed through the chamber as the true scale of Earth's hidden fleet was revealed. 500 ships, ranging from agile fighters to planet-cracking dreadnoughts, Admiral Zhao continued. Each vessel is equipped with technology reverse-engineered from recovered alien artifacts and enhanced by human ingenuity. We built this fleet hoping never to use it. But now, the Zephyrians have left us no choice. President Amelia Contreras stood, her eyes blazing with determination. The death of an innocent child, the daughter of our ambassador, cannot go unanswered. The Galactic Confederation has shown us their true nature. They see us as insignificant, expendable. It's time we show them the full might of humanity. The vote was unanimous. Operation Retribution would commence immediately. As preparations for war began, Elena Rice found herself standing before the United Earth Council. Despite her grief, she spoke with a steel-edged resolve that silenced the chamber. "I went to Zephyria seeking peace," she said, her voice barely above a whisper yet carrying to every corner of the room. "I believed in diplomacy, in the power of words to bridge the gap between our species. But they took my daughter, our future, and dismissed her life as a mere inconvenience." Her eyes, red-rimmed but burning with intensity, swept across the assembled leaders. "I don't ask for war. I demand justice, not just for Sophia, but for every human child who deserves to grow up in a galaxy that respects our right to exist." As Elena stepped down, Admiral Zhao approached her. "Ambassador," he said softly, "I have a proposal for you." Across the planet, and throughout the solar system, humanity's war machine roared to life. Shipyards hidden in the asteroids of the belt began launching vessels, their stealth systems ensuring they remained invisible to long-range sensors. On Mars and Luna, massive hangars opened, disgorging swarms of fighter craft and dropships. The flagship of the fleet, a colossal dreadnought christened the Revenant, emerged from its berth in the shadow of Pluto. Nearly 2 kilometers long and bristling with weapons that could reduce cities to ash, it represented the pinnacle of human military technology. Admiral Zhao stood on the bridge of the Revenant, overseeing final preparations. Beside him, Elena Rice gazed out at the assembling fleet, her diplomatic attire replaced by a crisp military uniform. "Are you sure about this, Ambassador?" Zhao asked, studying her profile. Elena nodded, her expression resolute. "I'm no longer an ambassador, Admiral. The time for words has passed. I will see this through to the end." As the fleet prepared to depart, a message was broadcast across every frequencies, in every language known to the Galactic Confederation. "To the Zephyrian Empire and all members of the Galactic Confederation, you believed us weak. You thought you could dismiss the life of our children without consequence. You were wrong. Humanity is coming, and we bring with us the fire of retribution. Prepare yourselves, for the wrath of Earth is upon you." The message ended with a single image, the face of Sophia Reyes, smiling innocently at the camera. Across the galaxy, alien civilizations received the transmission with varying degrees of concern and dismissal. Many laughed off the threat, confident in their technological superiority. Others, more cautious, began to mobilize their defenses. None of them truly understood the storm that was headed their way. On the bridge of the Revenant, Admiral Jao gave the order. All ships prepare for FTL jump. Our destination, Zephyria. Today, we show the galaxy that humanity will not be trifled with. Elena Reyes stood at the Admiral's side, her hand resting on a locket containing a lock of Sophia's hair. As the fleet engaged their faster-than-light drives, tearing holes in the fabric of space-time, she whispered a quiet promise. "We're coming, sweetheart, and they'll never forget your name." The Earth fleet vanished in a series of blinding flashes, leaving behind a solar system holding its breath, waiting for news of the coming conflict. Humanity had hidden in the shadows, building its strength in secret. Now, provoked beyond endurance, they were stepping onto the galactic stage, not as supplicants, but as avengers. The galaxy was about to learn a harsh lesson. Never underestimate the lengths to which humans will go to protect their own. The journey and first contact. The vast emptiness of interstellar space erupted in a dazzling display of light as Earth's fleet dropped out of FTL. 500 ships, from nimble fighters to the imposing bulk of the Revenant, reassembled in perfect formation. On the flagship's bridge, Admiral Zhao and Elena Reyes studied the holographic star map, plotting their course through alien territory. "We're still 3 jumps from Zephyria," Zhao noted, his fingers tracing the planned route. "But we've entered Confederation space. It won't be long before they detect our presence." Elena nodded, her eyes fixed on the glowing representation of their target. "Good. Let them see us coming. Let them tremble." As if on cue, the communications officer called out, "Sir, we're picking up chatter on Confederation frequencies." "They've spotted us." Zhao's lips curled into a grim smile. "And so it begins. All ships, battle stations. Prepare for encounter." The fleet surged forward, their engines leaving trails of ionized particles in their wake. They had barely crossed into the next star system when the first Confederation patrol appeared. 3 sleek vessels, their hulls gleaming with an otherworldly sheen, dropped out of FTL directly in their path. Their design was clearly Zephyrian, all sweeping curves and pulsing energy fields. "Unidentified fleet, you have entered Confederation space without authorization," a voice crackled over the comms, speaking in heavily accented English. "Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded, or we will open fire." Elena stepped forward, her voice cold as she addressed the Zephyrian commander. "This is Elena Reyes of Earth. You murdered my daughter on your homeworld, and now you dare to threaten us." She paused, letting her words sink in. "We will not stop. We will not yield. Either move aside or be destroyed." There was a moment of stunned silence from the Zephyrian ships. Then, with a flash of energy weapons, they opened fire. Evasive maneuvers. Zhao barked. The Revenant banked hard, the incoming fire splashing harmlessly against its advanced shields. All ships, engage at will. Show them what humanity is capable of. The space around them erupted into chaos. Human fighters swarmed the Zephyrian vessels, their weapons, a mix of traditional projectiles and energy beams, tearing through the alien shields with surprising ease. Elena watched the battle unfold, her heart racing. This was her first taste of space combat, and the reality of it. The silent flashes of explosions, the graceful dance of ships locked in mortal combat, was both terrifying and exhilarating. Within minutes, it was over. The Zephyrian patrol ships hung in space, disabled and drifting. Zhao turned to his communications officer. "Hail the lid ship." The Zephyrian commander's face appeared on screen, his iridescent skin pale with shock. "Impossible," he whispered. "You're just humans. How did you?" "We are more than you ever imagined. Alina replied, stepping into view. This is but a fraction of our strength. Transmit this message to your leaders. Earth is coming. Prepare for judgment. As the crippled Zephyrian ships limped away, the gravity of what they'd done settled over the bridge. They had fired the first shots, officially starting a war with the entire Galactic Confederation. There's no turning back now, Zhao murmured. Alina's hand went to the locket around her neck. There never was. The fleet pressed on, making their next jump. But word of the skirmish spread faster than light. By the time they reached the next system, a more substantial Confederation force awaited them. A flotilla of 50 ships, representing various species of the Confederation, formed a blockade before them. At their center floated a massive space station, its numerous docking arms currently filled with additional warships. Seems they've decided to take us seriously, Zhao observed dryly. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a panel of alien faces. In the center sat the Zephyrian, his ornate robes marking him as a high-ranking official. Humans, he began, his tone a mixture of condescension and concern. Your actions are in violation of numerous Confederation laws. Stand down immediately, or face total annihilation. Alina stepped forward, her eyes blazing. I am Alina Reyes. You killed my daughter on Zephyria and dismissed her death as a mere incident. We tried diplomacy. We offered friendship, and you responded with murder. She gestured to the fleet around them. This is humanity's response. We will have justice, not just for my Sophia, but for every human you've wronged. Your laws mean nothing to us. Your threats are empty. We are humanity, and we will not be denied. The Zephyrian official's expression hardened. So be it. All ships, open fire. Destroy these primitives and end this foolish insurgency. The space between the two fleets lit up with weapons fire. Energy beams and missiles crisscrossed the void, creating a deadly lattice of destruction. But the Earth fleet was ready. Fighters launched from their carriers, engaging the enemy in intricate dogfights. The larger human ships formed a defensive perimeter, their advanced shields absorbing the brunt of the Confederation's assault. All ships, execute maneuver Theta 3, Zhao commanded. The human fleet shifted, creating gaps in their formation. The Confederation forces, seeing what they thought was an opportunity, surged forward to exploit the weakness. It was a trap. Hidden weapon ports on the human ships suddenly opened, unleashing a barrage of antimatter torpedoes. The weapons passed through the gaps in the human formation and slammed into the heart of the Confederation fleet. The resultat was devastating. Ships vaporized in brilliant flashes of light. The space station's docking arms sheared off, sending the attached vessels spinning into the void. On the Revenant's bridge, Alina watched the battle unfold with a mixture of awe and horror. The power they wielded was terrifying. But a part of her, the part that ached for her lost daughter, felt a grim satisfaction. As the last of the Confederation ships fell silent, Zhao turned to his crew. Damage report. Minimal, sir, came the reply. Our shields held. We've lost a few fighters, but overall, our fleet is at 98% combat effectiveness. Alina's eyes remained fixed on the debris field that had once been the Confederation blockade. They never stood a chance, did they? Zhao shook his head. We've spent decades preparing for this, Ambassador. Every encounter, every scrap of alien technology we could salvage or reverse engineer, it all led to this moment. A quiet alert chimed from the communication station. Sir, the officer reported, we're receiving transmissions from multiple sectors. Word of our victories is spreading. Some are messages of support. Alina's eyebrows rose in surprise. Support? From whom? The officer's fingers danced across his console. Smaller worlds, mostly. Species that have felt oppressed by the Confederation. They're offering assistance, intelligence. Some are even pledging military support. A small smile tugged at Alina's lips. It seemed their act of defiance had struck a chord across the galaxy. Perhaps humanity wasn't as alone as they'd thought. Send them our thanks, she said. and let them know that once we've dealt with Zephyria, we'll be happy to discuss a new order for the galaxy, one built on mutual respect and true justice. As the fleet prepared for its final jump to Zephyria, Alina felt a shift in the air. What had started as a mission of vengeance was becoming something more. They weren't just fighting for Sophia anymore, or even just for Earth. They were fighting for every species that had ever been deemed lesser by the Confederation. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was leading the charge. All ships prepare for the final jump, Zhao announced. Next stop, Zephyria. As the fleet vanished into FTL, Alina closed her eyes, picturing Sophia's smile. We're almost there, sweetheart, she whispered. Almost there. The battle for justice. The Zephyrian home system blazed into view as Earth's fleet dropped out of FTL. The purple-green orb of Zephyria hung in space, surrounded by a complex network of orbital stations and defense platforms. Hundreds of ships swarmed around the planet, a hastily assembled defense force drawn from every corner of the Confederation. On the bridge of the Revenant, Admiral Zhao and Alina Reyes stood side by side, gazing at the formidable array before them. They've been busy, Zhao remarked, his tone neutral as he assessed the enemy forces. Alina's eyes were fixed on the planet below, her expression a mask of determination. It won't be enough. Zhao nodded, then turned to address the fleet. All ships, battle formation Delta. Fighters, prepare to launch on my mark. Remember your training. Remember why we're here. And remember, we are humanity. We will not fail. As the Earth fleet moved into position, a transmission cut through the tense silence. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing the face of High Counselor Vexera, the same Zephyrian official who had dismissed Sophia's death as a mere incident. Humans, Vexera began, his tone a mixture of anger and poorly concealed fear. Your reckless actions have brought you to the heart of the Confederation. You've violated our laws, attacked our ships, and threatened the stability of the galaxy. Stand down now, and perhaps we can negotiate terms for your surrender. Alina stepped forward, her voice cold and clear. High Counselor Vexera, do you remember me? Recognition flickered in the Zephyrian's eyes, followed quickly by unease. Ambassador Reyes, your presence here is unexpected. I'm no longer an ambassador, Alina replied. I'm here as a mother and as a representative of humanity. You killed my daughter and thought there would be no consequences. You were wrong. She gestured to the fleet behind her. We're not here to negotiate. We're here for justice, not just for Sophia, but for every species you've oppressed, every civilization you've deemed unworthy of respect. Your Confederation's reign of arrogance ends today. Vexera's expression hardened. So be it. You leave us no choice. All ships, engage the human fleet. Destroy them at all costs. The screen went dark, and for a moment, there was silence. Then, space itself seemed to erupt. Energy beams lanced out from the Confederation ships, a dazzling display of destructive power. Missiles streaked across the void, leaving trails of ionized particles in their wake. The orbital defense platforms added their fire to the barrage, creating a wall of death that no fleet should have been able to survive. But the Earth ships didn't just survive, they thrived. Fighters poured from the hangar bays of human carriers, swarming towards the enemy in perfect formation. Larger ships activated their point defense systems, creating a protective screen that intercepted incoming fire with pinpoint accuracy. All ships, execute Battle Plan Omega, Zhao commanded. Revenant, target the primary orbital defense station. Fire when ready. The massive dreadnought surged forward, its main cannon charging with a low, ominous hum. Energy coalesced at the barrel's tip, building to a blinding intensity. Then, with a silent flash that seemed to momentarily outshine Zephyria's sun, the Revenant fired. The beam struck the orbital station dead center. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, cracks spread across the station's surface, energy pouring from the fissures. With a final, soundless explosion, The station disintegrated, taking a significant chunk of the Zephyrian defenses with it. Direct hit, the weapons officer reported, a note of awe in his voice. Enemy orbital defenses are down by 30%. Alina watched the battle unfold, her heart racing. The sheer scale of destruction was overwhelming, but she forced herself to focus on why they were here. This wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about reshaping the galaxy into a place where no innocent child, human or alien, would suffer as Sophia had. As the battle raged on, it became clear that despite their numbers, the Confederation forces were outmatched. Human technology, honed in secret over decades and enhanced by reverse-engineered alien tech, proved superior at every turn. Fighters executed maneuvers that seemed to defy physics, outflanking their opponents with ease. Larger ships shrugged off hits that should have vaporized them, their advanced shields and armor proving more than a match for Confederation weapons. But it wasn't just technology that gave the humans an edge. There was a ferocity to their fighting, a determination that seemed to border on the supernatural. Every human in the fleet fought as if the fate of their entire species hung in the balance, because, in a way, it did. As the tide of battle turned decisively in Earth's favor, Alina noticed something unexpected. Several Confederation ships had broken off from the main force and were retreating. No, not retreating. They were attacking their own allies. "Admiral," she called out, pointing to the rogue ships. "What's happening there?" Zhao studied the tactical display, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "It seems we've inspired some defections. Looks like not everyone in the Confederation is happy with the current order of things." The comm officer's voice cut through the bridge. "Sir, we're receiving transmissions from multiple Confederation ships. They're asking to surrender." A hush fell over the bridge. This was it, the moment of truth. How humanity responded now would shape the future of galactic relations for generations to come. All eyes turned to Alina. She had started this war. It seemed fitting that she should decide how it ended. Alina closed her eyes for a moment, her hand going to the locket that held Sophia's lock of hair. When she opened them again, her gaze was clear and determined. "Accept their surrender," she said, her voice steady. "Tell them to power down their weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any ship that continues to fight will be destroyed, but those who surrender will be treated fairly." Zhao nodded, relaying the orders. Across the battlefield, Confederation ships began to go dark, their weapons powering down as they signaled their capitulation. "What about Zephyria itself?" Zhao asked quietly. Alina stared at the planet below, her expression unreadable. With a word, she could order its destruction. Part of her, the grieving mother who still woke up screaming from nightmares of Sophia's death, wanted to do just that. But that wasn't why they had come all this way. It wasn't what Sophia would have wanted. "Send a message to the planetary government," she said finally. "Tell them we're coming down. It's time to negotiate the terms of a new galactic order, one based on mutual respect and true justice." As shuttles prepared to descend to Zephyria's surface, Alina looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, she knew, other species were watching, waiting to see what humanity would do next. They had come seeking retribution, but perhaps in the end they would find something greater, a chance to build a better galaxy for all. The war was over. The real work was about to begin. Aftermath and new galactic order. The Grand Hall of the Zephyrian High Council, once a symbol of the Confederation's power and arrogance, now stood as a testament to the changing tide of galactic politics. Representatives from dozens of species, both former Confederation members and newly recognized civilizations, filled the chamber. At the center of it all stood Alina Reyes, her eyes scanning the diverse crowd before her. 5 years had passed since the Battle of Zephyria. 5 years of negotiations, rebuilding and forging a new path forward for all sentient beings in the galaxy. The journey hadn't been easy, but as Alina prepared to address the assembly, she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in how far they'd come. "Representatives of the galactic community," she began, her voice carrying clearly through the hall. 5 years ago, we stood on the brink of destruction. Humanity came to this world seeking justice for a single child, but in doing so, we uncovered a greater injustice that affected countless species across the stars. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Many of those present had their own stories of Confederation oppression, of being deemed lesser, and denied a voice in galactic affairs. We could have chosen to destroy. Elena continued. We had the power to reduce worlds to ash, to tear down the old order without thought for what would replace it. But that is not humanity's way. That is not the legacy we wish to leave among the stars. She paused, her hand unconsciously going to the locket she still wore around her neck. Instead, we chose to build, to create a new galactic community based not on fear or subjugation, but on mutual respect, understanding, and true justice for all sentient beings. The holographic displays around the hall flickered to life, showing images of the progress made over the past 5 years. New trade routes connecting previously isolated worlds. Scientific exchanges leading to breakthroughs in medicine, technology, and environmental restoration. Joint peacekeeping fleets, with ships from dozens of species working together to maintain stability and protect the vulnerable. The Galactic Concordat, Elena said, gesturing to the document displayed prominently at the front of the hall, is more than just a peace treaty or a set of trade agreements. It is a promise that we make to each other and to all future generations, a promise that the mistakes of the past will not be repeated, that no voice will go unheard, that no child of any species will suffer needlessly while others look away. As she spoke, Elena's gaze fell on a small group seated near the front. Admiral Zhao was there, older now but still standing proud. Beside him sat High Counselor Vexera, the Zephyrian's once haughty demeanor replaced by a more thoughtful, almost humble expression. The sight of human and Zephyrian sitting side by side, working together despite their painful history, filled Elena with hope for the future. But our work is far from over, she continued, her tone growing more serious. Even now, there are those who resist change, who cling to old prejudices and fears. Remnants of the old Confederation continue to cause trouble in the outer systems. New challenges arise daily as we learn to coexist and cooperate across vastly different cultures and biologies. A ripple of concern passed through the audience, but Elena raised her hand, her expression resolute. Yet I stand before you today, not with fear, but with unwavering confidence. For I have seen what we can accomplish when we work together. I have witnessed the incredible adaptability, creativity, and compassion that exists in every species represented here. She turned, indicating the massive viewscreen behind her. It showed a live feed from a distant space station, a joint scientific outpost where researchers from a dozen different species worked side by side, pushing the boundaries of knowledge. This is our future, Elena declared. Not conquest, not domination, but collaboration. Together, we will explore the farthest reaches of the galaxy. We will unlock the secrets of the universe. We will face whatever challenges await us not as separate, competing species, but as a united galactic community. As Elena's words rang out, a small commotion near the back of the hall caught her attention. A group of children, human, Zephyrian, and several other species, had entered quietly. They moved together, their differences forgotten in the universal language of childhood friendship. Elena's breath caught in her throat. For a moment, she saw Sophia in every one of those faces, the future they had fought for, the promise of a better tomorrow. Look around you, she said softly, emotion coloring her voice. Look at how far we've come. Look at the future we're building, not just for ourselves, but for them. She gestured to the children, who were now watching the proceedings with wide-eyed curiosity. 5 years ago, we came to Zephyria carrying the fire of retribution. Today, we carry a different fire, the flame of hope, of progress, of unity. It is up to all of us to keep that flame alive, to pass it on to future generations. Elena straightened, her gaze sweeping across the assembly one last time. The galaxy once trembled at the approach of humanity's fleet. Let it now tremble at the power of our combined potential. Let it marvel at what we can achieve together. For we are no longer just humans, or Zephyrians, or any single species. We are the united races of the galaxy, and together, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. As Elena concluded her speech, the hall erupted in applause. Representatives from countless worlds rose to their feet, their differences set aside in a moment of shared purpose and hope for the future. In that moment, as she looked out over the cheering crowd, Elena felt a profound sense of peace settle over her. They had come so far, endured so much. The road ahead would not be easy, but they would walk it together. She closed her eyes, her hand clasping the locket that held Sophia's memory. "We did it, sweetheart," she whispered. "We made a difference." As the applause continued to wash over her, Elena allowed herself a small smile. The galaxy had changed forever, and humanity had been the catalyst. They had arrived on the galactic stage, not just as conquerors or avengers, but as peacekeepers, as innovators, as the spark that ignited a new era of cooperation and understanding. The story of humanity's wrath had become a legend, a cautionary tale whispered across the stars. But it was not the end of their story. It was just the beginning. And as the representatives of 100 worlds filed out of the hall, already deep in discussion about the next steps in their shared journey, Elena knew that the true legacy of humanity, and of Sophia, would be the countless stories yet to unfold in this new united galaxy. The stars beckoned, and together, they would answer the call.